Alright guys, how you doing? It's Rabea. I hope you're all well. So as I'm sure you can guess from the title of this video, we're going to be taking a look at the brand new Victory VXMK2 Kraken amplifier. If you followed me for a while, you'll know that I'm involved in Victory amplifiers with regards to R&D across the board, working on all the amplifiers, but the way I got involved originally with Victory was to help design the Kraken amplifier, which, if you've seen any of the videos over the years or any of the gigs that I've played, I've been using the Victory Kraken for so long now. The original inception of that amplifier was 2015. I was brought on board in 2014, and I've been immensely proud to work with Victory amplifiers, Martin Kidd, designing that line of amps, and then also just developing all the amps going forward. So it's just been awesome. Fast forward to 2023, finally get to unveil and bring to you guys the Victory VXMK2, which is an updated version of that amplifier, the Lunchbox 50-watt head that I've used for so many years, and I can happily say this new one is going to be a mainstay for me with regards to the types of amp tone that I personally like to dial in and use. If you don't know anything about the Kraken, in a nutshell, it's a 2-channel amplifier. It can take 6L6 or EL34 power tubes, 12 AX7s in the preamp stage. Gain 1 is a British voiced kind of low to high gain channel, and Gain 2 is an American voiced low to high gain channel. Really high gain, but you can run it lower gain as well. I always like to use 2 in stereo, blend the 2 channels, and just get the full spectrum high gain sound that I've used for years. Even such to the point of my Neural DSP plugin is using the Victory amplifiers for the crunch and the lead channel. So I'm just a huge fan of the way it sounds and very proud of the way it sounds. It's a basic layout. You've got bass, middle and treble, 2 masters that you can assign for a solo boost if you want to. And of course it's got an effects loop. And yeah, basically 50 watts, really powerful. You can switch it down to 9. And it's really, really successful amplifier for Victory. What we're talking about with regards to the changes made with the VXMK2 are a couple of really cool features. Firstly, it's got a clean channel now, which is something we introduced on the Super Kraken, but the way it's designed is slightly different to the Super Kraken, in that on the Super Kraken, it goes between engaging half a preamp tube to get the clean channel. So if you imagine running the preamp tubes for the Gain 1, you take half a preamp tube out, you'll get the clean channel on Super Kraken. Where it differs on the Kraken Mark II is that because that uses up more space to do that type of circuit layout, Martin came up with a genius idea of attenuating the first gain stage in this amplifier, so that you essentially attenuate the gain staging and it brings it down into a clean channel. One of the really nice features of that is that not only is it based on the gain stage or the gain channel, you get that harmonic content, so it's nice and chimey, but also you get a little bit of natural compression with the clean. And it's not overbearing, it's not like really compressed or anything, it's just a nice feeling under the fingers. The rig that I'm using today, I've got my pedal board on the floor with the Strifector, the gig rig and fuzzes and all the same sort of stuff I've always used. I'm running into a V30 and a G12H65 cab. I've mic'd it with 2 SM57s and I'm blending those 2 mics together just to give you an idea of how it sounds. At the end of the day, it's coming out of microphones into pre's, into YouTube, all that kind of stuff. So really, I recommend going to a store and trying one out for yourself. But at the end of the day, this is the best I can offer for you guys on the old YouTube. So that's a really nice major update. Firstly, having the clean channel. The thing is, it shares gain 1. So as you know, gain 1 is a gain stage. It can go really high gain if you want it to. And one of the features that we wanted to include when using this channel or the clean channel was that you could balance out the volume difference, because running a clean and a gain on the same sort of channel, you'll find that it jumps a lot in volume, such as like the Soldano SLO. It's a fantastic amplifier, but you kind of have to choose, am I going to use a clean and an overdrive, or am I going to use a crunch and an overdrive? It doesn't give you the option to switch, but also if you've played through that amplifier or something similar, you'll notice the difference in volume between the two, depending on where you've got the gain. It just takes your head off when you switch over. So what we decided to do was add a balance pot on the back of the amplifier, which is the send level of the amplifier, and you can change the amount of volume between the clean and the crunch. It's really easy to dial in. It's kind of a set and forget, especially if you know where you like your gain on gain 1. The next major feature, and one that was requested a few times, was a presence knob. We didn't have a presence knob on the original one. Both Martin and I aren't necessarily the biggest fans of presence, not because it's not a good thing to have in an amp. It's just our personal preference when designing the Kraken was that it didn't necessarily need it. You know, if you're playing live, the sound engineer is going to place the mic where he thinks best, and you know, presence can often make live guitar tone a little bit too fizzy. And also, if you're playing a valve amp at lower volume, you don't necessarily need it. It's just something that opens out the top end, and metal players really like to have presence. So it was something, since it's marketed at metal players, we wanted to include. So you've got a presence knob. What's really cool about it is when it's rolled all the way down, it's as the original Kraken sounded without presence. So you've got the full spectrum of that presence knob to really dial in the type of sort of presence you want in your gain. But also, I was like, well, in the same way we use the bass focus, and if you're using extended range and stuff, you might want to tighten up the low end. What if you want to sort of mess around with where that presence is affected? That came from a prototype that we were listening to 2 different prototypes where the presence was, and I was like, let's put it on a switch. Presence shift, which is on the back. And that's the sort of final update of this amplifier. Having the presence shift with the presence knob allows you to further brighten, sort of go up the frequency spectrum of presence to be able to get, you know, that really classic sizzle that you'd find in 5150s and the Soldano, for example, things like that. So essentially, having the clean channel, having the balance pot, having the presence knob and the presence shift has given a bunch of variety to the tones you can get out of the Kraken Mark II. So we're on to gain 1. First thing I'll say is the presence is all the way down and the shift switch is out. So this is kind of how Kraken originally sounded on the crunch. So I'm gonna strum a chord and then I'm gonna hit the shift switch, so you should hear the difference. It just opens up the original sort of Kraken tone. It's way more noticeable on high gain, but I wanted to just give you a demonstration on a lower mid-gain sort of tone. So it's kind of opened it up a little bit, and you've still got the entire range of presence. Let me just show you what happens when you boost the gain. Gain's at halfway. I'll put the Thunderclaw and the Pog on. And what's cool is obviously having the presence there. If you want to brighten the sound like that up a little bit. You can do so if you wish. So gain 2, that American sizzly high gain. First thing I'll show you is the presence shift. So I've taken the presence all the way down. Presence shift switch is out. So this is the original sound of VX. Right, so now if I hold a chord and throw on the shift, you'll hear what happens. So yeah, it's quite a big jump. Don't forget, of course, if you don't want the shift switch in, you want it to stay like that, you've still got that whole presence knob to mess with. Okay, so hopefully you can agree with me. It's quite versatile and it sounds great. Hopefully I've done a good job of miking it up so you can hear it over YouTube and it represents how it sounds. But again, I would always recommend going to a store and plugging it in for yourself so that you can hear how it sounds in the flesh. But it's bloody loud in here. And I've got the volume only on sort of 9 o'clock on high powered because, you know, it's always better on high powered. So what I'm going to do now is plug in the baritone, play some stuff on that, and we'll call it a day. I guess the last thing is a cosmetic update. It's had a lick of paint. It's not the flat grey anymore. It's like a sparkly grey. So it looks like a new updated version of the Kraken. And it's still 6L6 or EL34, depending on what you like. There's a little switch inside to move between the two power tubes that you want to use. Still features 12 AX7s, still has the same base focus, but now you have biasing ports on the back as well, so you can easily change your tubes. Still switchable down to 9 watts, and it is still 50 watts, so it's definitely loud enough. Okay, so that pretty much wraps it up for the VX Mark II. Thank you for watching. If you want to check out a Victory VX Kraken Mark II, you can go to Victory's website, or you can go to a retailer that stocks Victory, plug it in, sit down, give it some time, mess around with all the different tones, try different guitars. I urge you to check it out at least. But anyway, yeah, immensely proud of this. Thank you, of course, to Victory for having me involved. Thank you to all you guys, for checking it out. And the kind words if you've already bought one and all the rest of it. If you like the way it sounds, I appreciate the positive feedback that we've received so far. But yes, I'm rambling. Thanks very much for watching this video. I've been Rabea, and I will see you all very soon.